Hey, but I have a question. We often talk about making wealth in the hobby, right? How do we make money in the hobby? And I was fortunate, bills aside, budget aside, I was able to turn 5,000 into just under 100 in the last year. Top Shot, Star Stock, traditional cards, vintage, grading, all of it combined. But we don't talk necessarily about protecting our wealth, for lack of a better word. And maybe help me understand that, like how I word this question. But you've talked about a ton of crypto millionaires and a ton of card millionaires that are going to come up in the next 2, 3, 4 years. But people forget that, a million could go to zero really quickly too. So how would you be looking at protecting the wealth that you've made over these last few years?
If I'm staying in the cards, if I'm specifically targeting cards as one avenue, is just look at players as small cap, mid cap, large cap. Very simple. If I buy small cap stocks, they're the most likely to go bankrupt. They're the most likely to screw up. If I buy mid cap, is a higher likelihood of sticking around, right? Then small cap, less likely to go out of business. And then large cap, I'm dealing with the Disneys of the world, the Walmarts of the world, the Amazons of the world. If I'm dealing here, I may be dealing with Clubhouse. I may be dealing with a smaller company that just doing 50 million a year, 20 million a year, 100 million a year, right? But at the same time, this 50 million could go to a billion. If it does, you made 20x your money. So $100,000 all of a sudden became $2 million, right? Versus if you invest into Amazon, that's currently a $2 trillion company. Let's say it's going to be a $4 trillion company in the next 5 years. Okay, your 100 grand became what? 200 grand in 5 years. But as you get older, you have to do the math of your age and how much risk you can take. If you're 30 years old, say in stocks, you'll sit with a client, the basic math they use is whatever your age is, subtract it from 100, let's just say. So if I'm 30 years old, I subtract 30 from 100, I got 70. 70% needs to be in equities. I can afford to have 70 in equities. So if I got $100,000 to invest, 30% maybe goes into, a little bit more of a safer investment. $70,000 goes in what? In funds, mutual funds, and all that other stuff. You can kind of figure out stocks where you can put it. As you age, the same thing goes with that as well. However, most people that are doing cards, they're not 100% cards. Most investors in cards, unless if you're dealing with younger audience, there are many who they're 100% of their wealth is in cards. Just like if you're dealing with Bitcoin, most Bitcoin investors, 100% of their wealth is in Bitcoin. They're not diversified, right? And here's the problem and the opportunity with being diversified or not being diversified. If you're diversified, less risk of screwing the whole thing up, but also less likely of you having a massive victory, okay? It's just a safe way of living. If you're singly in one area, one industry, one product, one investment, the likelihood of you exploding and creating a lot of wealth is higher, but the likelihood of you losing it all is also higher, right? So how do you manage the two? Look, what is your tolerance for risk? What is your tolerance for losing sleep at night because you lost all your money? What is your tolerance for getting a Trey Young who you think could go do something big, but at the same time, ankle injuries to smaller players? What is your risk of wanting to go get a John Morant who jumps out of the flipping place, but he goes up, comes down, steps on somebody's foot, breaks his ankle, then he's gone. But Ja could be the next Westbrook. Ja could be the next a lot of different things, right? So is there an upside for that? So that's one of the reasons why when I look at a Luka, and you guys are Luka Nation, Luka's vertical leap is 6 inches. He's not going to step on anybody's ankle, okay? So I'm not being sarcastic. I mean,
no, he turned a 6-inch vertical leap into a positive.
Yeah,
it's hard to do.
I'm telling you, as an investor, I love the fact that Luka can jump more than 6 inches. Obviously, it's 20 inches, but I'm just joking with this. The fact that he's not going to hurt himself. So you got to put all of that stuff into. You got to consider all of that stuff before you go out there. And then, when you're younger, you have more upside, more wiggle room to screw up. You don't as you age. You got to kind of be a little bit more calculating as you age.